We're going to talk to Scooby here in a little bit, Coach. So what kind of spring and fall do you think he's had, and looking at that competition at linebacker behind York?
Yeah, this has been the most consistent he's been. Obviously, I've had him for 3 years now. He's really talented. He's a really smart kid. This has been the most consistent. The most consistent he's been. I think it's the highest level he's competed at, and I'm proud of his summer. I think he worked really hard. I think physically he's in really good shape, and I think he's had a really good summer.
We'll stay on that front row to Mark.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the defensive tackles and what you've seen from a couple of guys, Gabe Dindy in particular, and Rodas Johnson.
Sure. Rodas has done a great job. He's played a lot of football. He's a really, really smart football player. Football makes sense to him. I think some of the things we saw in the spring that we felt like were things for him to work on. I think he's done a really good job of working at those things and being conscientious about it. We talked to him about, hey, pick something every day to get better at. I think he's done a really nice job of that. I think Rodas has become a really reliable, good football player that we feel comfortable playing at any time. Gabe, was out all spring with his injury, and so he came back and looks like $1 million. Sean Spencer calls him the thing, and he's come out there and I think every day he gets better. Mike points him out like, hey, look, this kid hasn't played football in a long time, and you see continued progress there. So I think both those guys have done a great job, but I've been really impressed with Rodas.
We'll go front row on the right side to Travis and then Sam.
Yeah, Coach, with the restrictions lifted on coaches hands-on in practice, how has that changed practice that y'all, from your perspective, or changed any of the results you see from practice?
I don't think it's changed a ton, but I do think we've got some really good young guys. Kyle Hoke, who played for me, who was at San Diego State. Alex Garwig works with me in the linebackers. Preston Mason. Brian Gross-Armiento, who did a great job here coaching, who's an analyst now. You get guys like that out there coaching, that with the knowledge base they have, it's going to make you better. But I don't think it's changed a whole lot. I just think we're fortunate to have some really talented young men that are helping our kids get better.
We'll go third row on the left side to Sam and then Olin.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you about a couple of guys. Cassius Howell, transfer edge rusher. How's he look throughout camp?
Yeah, we talked about Cassius the last time I was up here. I think he's tremendous. I think he is a really, really unique player. He can do a lot of different things, and is different a little bit from Shamar and Nick. Size-wise, maybe coverage ability a little bit. But he's got a real role. He's a really important part of the defense, and I think he's going to play a ton. So I think we're really fortunate to have him.
And in the secondary, Des Ricks, Willie, B.J. Mays, what have they been looking like so far?
Des, I think we've been really impressed with. I think early on, I remember there was practice 2 or practice 3, there was a play, and Jordan Peterson turned to me, who's done a great job with those guys. And Jordan turned to me and said, that's because he hasn't played football in a while. Because Des really was out for most of the spring, all the spring. And so I think what we've seen is every practice, he's just continued to improve, and he's really talented, right? So I've been really happy with Des. I think B.J. Mays has done a great job. I think he's really comfortable with what we're doing. He understands it. He's a great communicator. I think the thing when we've gone to him with hey, look, this is something to work on. This is something to work on. I think he's addressed it and done a really nice job. And then, Will's played a lot of football. He's really talented. Missed a few days, during the middle of camp with an injury, but he's back now and doing well. So I think those 3 kids are, I think Javon Thomas done a great job too. So that corner room is really, really competitive. And, I think it's going to be a real strength.
We'll go second row on the right side to Olin and then Carter.
Yeah, Coach, I was just curious about what's going on, guys y'all like at the nickel, and then maybe at that safety position opposite Bryce.
Sure. I mean, at nickel, Tyreek's playing nickel some, and I think he's tremendous there. And I think he's got a real bright future there. Obviously, he's played a lot of football on the outside, so there's a kid that can do both for you. Jaden Hill played nickel at Florida. We were fortunate to get him to come here for his last year. He's a tremendous player. He's a kid that I have a lot of respect for as a football player, and so I think those are 2 really, really good players. And then I think Bravion, who moved from corner to nickel, he's really kind of taken to it, and BJ's done a great job coaching him. And I think that position is one of a lot of talent, a lot of guys that have played a lot. That's going to be a real strength for us at nickel. In the safety room, I think Bryce has done a great job. Dalton Brooks has really come along. I think Dalton Brooks is a super talented kid. And then I think Marcus Ratcliffe, man, I love the way that kid plays. He's a big, rangy safety who I think really flashed in the spring, has just kept getting better. He's only going to be a sophomore, so I think, a kid who transferred from San Diego State, he's going to be a good player. And then I think getting Trey Jones back, who was injured, missed most of the spring, that's another big, rangy, smart, really great communicator. So I think the safety competition, I feel as good about that position as I do anything. So I don't know, I heard Mike say this earlier, who goes out there for the first play, I don't think is as important as who plays the last few plays. Right, so I think they're all going to play. They're all going to be contributors, and I think we got a really good group.
We'll stay on that second row and go to Carter.
Jay, you mentioned it a little bit, but with so many newcomers in the secondary and some guys moving around back there, how have you tried to approach giving guys a look and kind of seeing what you have in certain guys, but also trying to kind of get to that 2 deep where you can have some guys maybe.
Yeah, we're really fortunate that our head coach is, if not the best, one of the best secondary coaches in college football, right? So the rotation, the way we practice, the reps we create for them, I would bet if you asked any of them, they would tell you they have no idea, I have no idea who the starters are going to be. And so we've done a great job of exposing them to different combinations, and get the work in and let them compete. We knew we got here that room was going to need some able bodies. We were fortunate to get some really talented kids, and it's going to be fun to see them compete and see who ends up playing the most. But I think they're all going to play and all going to contribute to the success of the team.
Anything else? We'll go one more to Sam on the left side.
Coach Bateman, I know you'd worked with Coach Elko in the past, but now coming back here and being through this journey the last 8 months, 9 months with him, what has struck you about how this program has been run in year one?
Yeah, so I think in today's day and age, with all the transient nature of the roster, I think the job Mike's done is unbelievable. It is very clear what the expectation is, and he doesn't ask them to do things that don't matter to success. And so I think kids appreciate that. They appreciate his honesty. It's very organized. It's very clear what's expected, and they're able to go out and have fun and play football. And I think he's done he does a great job as a leader to our coaching staff, but to our players, to everybody in the organization. It's very clear what the expectation is. We started picture today at 2:30. It was on time at 2:30. So he's done a great job with that.